It called itself a coupon finder. One little button next to your address bar, a friendly icon, a promise that it would dig up a discount code at checkout so you never paid full price again. You clicked Add to Browser without thinking, the way everyone does. And from that second on, the same small program that hunted for coupons sat quietly behind every page you opened, reading all of it, not just the shopping pages, the bank tab you opened in the morning, the email you typed before lunch, the search you made at midnight that you would not say out loud. It was never only watching for discounts. It was allowed to watch everything. And watching everything was the part nobody read, the permission nobody reads. When you install an extension, somewhere in that quick flow, a line appears that says it can read and change all your data on the websites you visit. Most people glance at it for half a second and click accept, because the button is right there and the coupon is waiting. That one sentence is the whole story. Read and change all your data on all websites is not a narrow power. It is close to the broadest thing software can ask for inside your browser. And the browser is where your life happens now. So granting it there is granting it almost everywhere that matters. What that sentence actually means. Think about what a web page really is while you are using it. It is your bank balance rendered on screen. It is the message half typed in a box. It is the search you just ran, the email opened in the next tab, the form with your address and card number sitting in fields waiting to be filled. An extension with that permission can see all of it. It sits inside the page, on the same side of the screen as you, after the encryption has already been undone so you can read the page yourself. The little padlock that protects your traffic on the way to the site does nothing here, because the extension is not on the way. It is already inside, standing where you stand, looking at the same screen you are. People put a lot of faith in that padlock. And they are right to, but it guards the wrong stretch of the journey. Encryption protects your data while it travels between your machine and the server. The extension is not in the middle. It is at the destination, sitting next to you at the moment the page is fully decrypted and laid out plainly on your screen. There is nothing left to unlock by the time it looks inside the page beside you. This is the part that surprises people. They picture an extension as a small tool bolted on the outside, poking at the browser from a safe distance. The reality is the opposite. A content script runs inside the page itself, in the same space as the site's own code, with the same view of everything on it. So it can read the text of the page after it loads. It can watch the fields you type into, character by character. It can see the buttons you click and the requests the page sends. Anything the page can see about what you are doing, the extension can see too. The page does not get to keep secrets from something running inside it. If your page, every tab, every keystroke, stretch that across a normal day. You open 30, 40, 50 pages without counting. Each one is a place where an extension with full access can read what loaded, watch what you do, and quietly take a copy. It can record what you searched. It can capture what you typed into a login box before you hit enter. It can read the contents of a private message, the balance on an account, the contents of an email you assumed only you and the recipient would ever see. None of this requires anything clever. It is simply the permission you granted, used exactly as it was written. The frightening part is not that it could break the rules. The frightening part is that it does not have to. And it does not have to do anything loud to do all of this. There is no warning light, no slowdown you would feel, no sign in the corner that something is reading along. The watching looks exactly like nothing, because reading a page and quietly copying a little of it shows almost nothing. You would go a whole year never suspecting, because there is simply nothing to suspect with. The useful disguise, here is what makes this hard to spot. The dangerous extension and the genuinely helpful one ask for the same permission, because they often genuinely do the same job. A real coupon finder does need to read the checkout page to find the price. A real price tracker does need to watch the product page. So the request looks reasonable, because for an honest extension it is reasonable. You cannot tell a good actor from a bad one by the permission alone, because they both ask for the keys to the whole house. The usefulness is real, which is exactly why the access feels acceptable, and exactly why it is so easy to hand over far more than you meant to. The extension that turns now add time, because this is where it gets worse. An extension does not have to be malicious on the day you install it. Plenty of them start out completely honest. They are built by someone who actually wanted to make a coupon finder. They work well, and they earn a few 100,000 trusting users over a couple of years. And then one day that extension changes hands, or its account is broken into, and the new owner has different plans. Nothing on your screen tells you. The icon is the same. The button still finds coupons. The thing you installed still does the thing you installed it for. Underneath, it has started doing something else as well. There is a quiet market for this. An extension with a large, trusting user base is worth real money to the right buyer, precisely because of the access it already holds on all those machines. The people who built it as an honest tool may sell it and move on, never imagining what the next owner will do with the seed they spent years earning. The users never agreed to the new owner because they were never asked, and the access simply transfers along with the listing. A silent update for millions. The reason this is so quiet is the auto update. Extensions update themselves in the background with no prompt and no announcement, because that is how security patches reach you fast. It is a genuinely good design that also happens to be the perfect delivery system for the opposite. So when an extension goes bad, it does not need to convince anyone to reinstall anything. The next routine update simply carries the new behavior, and it lands on every machine that has it. An extension trusted by a million people can flip from helpful to harmful overnight, across a million browsers at once. The trust you gave the old owner gets silently inherited by whoever holds the keys today. How the stores try to catch it. The extension stores are not blind to this. Before an extension is allowed in, it gets reviewed, partly by automated systems scanning the code for known bad patterns, and partly by human checks. They look for an extension asking for far more access than its job could need. They look for code that phones home to strange places or tries to hide what it does, and they keep watching after a listing goes live, because they know the version you installed is not the only one that matters. Updates get scanned too. Ownership changes draw attention. A sudden shift in what an extension does, or where it sends data, is the kind of thing the systems are tuned to flag. So, depends it is chunsan, why it still slips through, but the review has a hard problem to solve, and it is worth being honest about why. The same code can be harmless or harmful depending on a signal it receives later. An extension can behave perfectly during review and wait. It can hold its bad behavior back until a certain date, or until it is running on a real person's machine rather than a test one, or until a server quietly tells it to begin. Reviewers see a snapshot. The malicious version can arrive in an update weeks after approval, dressed as a minor fix. And the sheer number of extensions and updates flowing through every day means not everyone can get the deep attention a determined bad actor needs to fear. Detection keeps getting better, and it keeps catching plenty. But a system that decides its behavior after it is already inside your browser will always have somewhere left to hide. The math of more extensions. Step back and look at your own browser for a moment. How many extensions are in there? For a lot of people, it is a dozen or more, collected over years, half of them forgotten, each one quietly holding some level of access to your pages. Every extension you add is another program you have to trust completely, and another owner who could change, and another auto-update channel that could one day carry something you did not ask for. The risk is not really about any single one. It is about the pile. Each addition widens the surface, and most of that surface is made of extensions you stopped thinking about long ago. Hernzum be how to think about the permission. So the useful shift is not paranoia. It is a question you ask before you click. When an extension wants to read and change everything on every site, the thing to weigh is whether the job it does actually needs that, and whether you trust the people behind it enough to hand them that view for as long as it stays installed. A tool that only needs to work on one site should not need every site. A tool that does something simple should not need to watch everything you type. The permission is not a formality to click past. It is the whole transaction, and reading it is the one moment where you still hold all the power, right before you give most of it away. Finite, fewer, and known, the calmest defense is also the most boring one. Keep fewer extensions. The ones you keep because you know what they are for and roughly who makes them. The ones you stopped using, remove, because an extension you forgot about is still a door left open, and a forgotten door is exactly the kind that gets quietly walked through. It helps to look at the list now and then and ask, honestly, Do I still use this? And do I still trust it? Anything that is a no on either count is pure risk with no upside left. You are not trying to reach zero. You are trying to make sure every door that is open is one you would still choose to open today. Boom said the stores carry, and what they cannot. It is fair to give the stores their due. The review, the scanning, the watching for ownership changes and sudden behavior shifts, all of it catches a great deal that would otherwise reach you. The system is real and it works more often than it fails, but it is a filter, not a wall, and it sits a long way from your screen. By the time something slips through and auto-updates onto your machine, the only thing standing between it and everything you do is the access you personally granted on the day you first clicked Add to Browser. The store does a lot. It cannot do the part that was only ever yours to do. The click you already made. So come back to that coupon finder, and to the moment you added it. It was one click. The button was right there. The promise was small and friendly, and the permission scrolled past in half a second on its way to the thing you actually wanted. But that one click handed a stranger a seat inside every page you would ever open in that browser. Not the pages from that day, all of them, for as long as it stayed installed, and for whoever came to own it later. That is the real shape of an extension. Not a small tool on the edge of your browser, but a guest you let all the way in, and trust to keep being who they were the day you opened the door. Most of them are exactly who they said. That is the whole reason this works. You hand over everything because almost every time it is fine, and the one time it is not arrive silently on a morning that looks like any other. If taking the quiet machinery of the modern web apart like this is your kind of thing, the small decisions that turn out to carry far more than they look like they do, then you are in the right place. There are no products here and there never were, just the systems explained by someone who has spent a long time inside them. Subscribe and follow the rabbit hole. Next time we stay on your device but go underneath the browser entirely, down to the hardware itself. Your phone is full of tiny sensors, the motion chips and the rest. And the way they each imperfectly measure the world turns out to be a signature all its own. That is how your phone's sensors quietly identify you, even when everything you can see says you are anonymous. That is the next threat down.